Hello, hi, and welcome all. I'm Pushkar Shashvi back with my new podcast again. And today we have with us a guest, Aman Kumar, who is currently working in Amazon as business intelligence and supply chain analytics, and has also worked for many companies like Etihad and Tata Steel and many other companies. And he's also an alumni of IIM Ahmedabad. So, Aman, did I miss anything, or did you want to add anything?
No, thanks for hosting me in this great platform. And I believe Growjunction is doing a phenomenal work in giving guidance to the MBA candidates. Uh, the only thing that you missed out in between was that I also worked in an e-commerce just before Amazon. But all in all, it's good. Yeah, don't
Okay.
worry.
Yeah, so can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yeah, sure, why not? So I come from Jamshedpur, the land of Tatas, and I'm truly inspired by Tata. As you said briefly that I've worked in Tata Steel, that's not the case. I interned in Tata Steel I think I interned there twice. So coming from there, I studied in Tata and then I went on to do my engineering from BITS Pilani campus. I was a chemical engineer, but nevertheless, I was more interested on the tech side. So all my electives, I mean, BITS Pilani gives you an amazing choice to choose your electives the way you want it to. Okay, so it's as per where you want to see a career, going in which direction. So I chose electives in data structures. I even did electives in object-oriented programming and designing. Then I was also interested in refrigeration systems. In the mechanical engineering side, I've done those electives as well. But eventually, I felt that I should stick to chemical engineering, and I joined CARE in India after having completed my engineering in 2014. I worked there for 2.5 years as an operations engineer, and I mean, over there, it was more about stakeholder management and understanding that with such huge budgets, you are able to manage daily operations. And that's what inspired me to do MBA. I never had I never thought of doing MBA before that. So it was truly because of the actual work experience that I had. I thought that maybe once I do MBA with those skill sets and the degree, it would help me catapult my career in the right direction and in that area which I always aspire to work in, where you sort of get autonomy to make decisions. And then I went on to do my MBA in IIM Ahmedabad. I had interned in a strategy consulting firm in Dubai itself called Arthur D. Little. Had a phenomenal experience. However, I felt that I wanted to stay close to technology, and I was more interested in in chasing the field of product management or operations research, not operations management, but operations research, where you do optimization, you build systems that optimizes your revenue or cost or time, etc., or either to work in a proper e-commerce sector. And hence I chose to work in such sectors. Especially, I got an opportunity in Etihad Airways. It was a brilliant opportunity. I got to work with like brilliant set of people, super smart people. I learned a lot about how dynamic pricing works. How do you build products on those areas, which improves the revenue quality for airlines. At the same time, it improves the customer experience. So without hampering the customer experience, how do you improve the revenue quality? How do you manage the right level of forecasting, the right level of offer that you can give to the customer? Eventually, I moved to e-commerce sector called Noon, which as of now is one of the largest players in the Middle East. I worked there as a planning manager. I was looking after fashion retail as such, where I have switched sectors, as you can see, from oil and gas to airlines, then I switched to e-commerce within fashion domain. All these brands like Versace, Gucci, H&M, these are new to me, but I'm truly inspired by this whole process of getting to understand any sector and learn a lot from it. This is what keeps me going, actually. So I learned there a lot about how do you build sorting algorithms, pricing algorithms for them, how do you manage the campaigns for these categories. Now, eventually, I moved to Amazon in Europe. Now, this is a completely new field for me as well. This is completely into supply chain, which I had never dealt with, and I'm like super excited to work over here in a completely new domain. However, the underlying skill sets that I still require remains the same, which is on analytics, on system designs, and optimization. That's the core of what I always wanted to do. So I keep that with me all the time. And yeah, that's how my career has progressed till now.
That's great. That's great. That's a very nice introduction. So, like as you have worked with many companies, so how far till now your experience has been? In one word, if you want to say.
Can you come back again? Sorry, what did you
Uh,
ask?
till now, as you have worked with many companies and many other places you have done your internship. So, till now, how far has your experience been? And in one word, if you want to describe, so what would you say?
Uh, it's never too late to learn, first of all. And it doesn't matter which company you work for, which sector or which domain you work in, as long as you have the zeal to learn, you'll go in the right direction. Like you will see yourself growing. The other advice I can give you is not never to depend on your degrees or college. It doesn't help. Once you enter the actual corporate life, it's all about your skill sets and your stakeholder management, which will take you to great heights. So
That's great. That's nice. So, Aman, as you have done your engineering from which plan, right? So, what made you do MBA? Like, what was the reason for doing MBA?
okay. Uh, so again, as I said earlier, I was working in India as an operations engineer. Now, on a daily basis, I never understood why I was doing that piece of work uh, at a very granular level. Okay, at a very high level, of course, I can say that my work led to increase in more revenue for the company, but I never had a say in taking any decisions. Okay, it was more about managing the work. Okay, the other part which I felt was I always wanted to have the autonomy to decide what I wanted to do, which can lead to which can lead to better revenue for the company itself. And there were plenty of people from IAM backgrounds, from ISB and XLRIs, who were sort of working in the same role. They were working in the finance domain. They were even in fact in marketing domain and operations domain. And I was inspired with the level of autonomy and the work that they did, the kind of projects they managed. There was a lot of complexity and a lot of responsibility on their shoulders, and that propelled me to take a decision that helped me decide that I want to sort of see my career growing in this field. So hence I wanted to do MBA. And I think it took me almost 2 years to figure it out that I actually wanted to do MBA. Before that, I had no hope. I was happy with the work that I was doing, but things change, and nothing is constant, as I say.
Yeah,
With time, you would also get to learn, where you want to see your career growing, and eventually you'll decide.
that was really great that you took 2 years to, understand that why you need to do MBA. That's
Yes,
at
that's
last,
true.
at last you came to know that what's the value of MBA in the corporate life, right?
Yes. It gave me a good entry point to those areas where it's very difficult to enter. Okay, but once you enter, let's say if it is in the strategy domain or in the product side or even in the operations and marketing side. Okay, the moment you enter, it's not about the degree anymore. Okay, believe me, outside India, I have seen candidates without MBA degrees doing the same work. It depends from country to country how they look at the degree. But once you enter, it's all about the skill sets and about your zeal to learn and grow in your career. There are candidates who are also doing phenomenally well without a degree. But what degree gives you is it's like an insurance that you will not that you know the basics and you know it to a good extent so that you don't mess up in the work that you're in the responsibility that you're given. Okay, and with experience, once you hone those skill sets, people put more responsibility on you because they get to rely on you. They and all in all, with your experience and skill sets, that is what will drive you ahead in your career. This is just an entry point in the right direction where you wanted to see your career growing.
Oh, that's great. That's very informative. So, Aman, as one time you were an MBA student. Before MBA student, you were
Yes.
an aspirant also. So, are there are
Yes.
many of our audience, who are aspirants watching this session? So, how would you like to, motivate them, and how did you yourself prepare for CAT and other exams?
Sure. Yeah, I'll give it a try. So when I was working in K, because it was an operations role, I was working in a very offsite, outside my, in fact, I was not even working in a tier 2 city. It was a place in the outskirts called Viramgam, and there was another place called Barmaid, Bankaner, all these areas you might not have heard. Those are the sites where actually the oil processing happens. And it was a cordoned area, as I said. So over there, I got to meet, I hardly met any people. Okay, but the kind of the magnitude of operations we used to run was something that inspired me. And I felt that, yeah, I want to do, like, if I want to do MBA, but given the circumstances that I have to do everything by myself. And believe me, I was working in shifts, because if you're in operations, you'll get to work in A shift, B shift, and C shift. And because I was a bachelor back then, I got a lot of C shifts. I used to work at night. Uh, and I frankly, I utilized those hours as well. While managing the operations, I know I had to study. And after having decided that you want to start, like you wanted to have another degree, you have to study rigorously. The challenge was that I felt that my brain was completely frozen because after doing engineering, once you haven't entered any competitive field, it becomes difficult, right? So it took me a few months to sort of rewire my brain and start, training myself once again. And there are a few, I mean, in those days, I used to get inspired by a lot of self-help books. I read a lot. At the same time, I used to watch a lot of YouTube videos to get more confidence on my preparation. Besides the usual preparation of practicing questions, etc., whatever it was. One thing that helped me out was to be consistent in what you do. It's not like on it that you won't practice a few things on certain days and suddenly you'll practice for 3 hours. It doesn't help. I maintained a routine, and whenever I felt that I was going out of track, I felt that what am I doing in life? I used to watch a lot of videos and learn from the books that I used to read. That helped me a lot, and that helped me keep my inspiration going in the right direction. Once I cleared, I had made 2 attempts. The first attempt was just to understand what CAT is all about. So back then I had, I think 97 point some percentile back then. And I didn't want to go into new ions because of the kind of background I had. I felt that I could crack ABC. That was my only option. Yeah, and next time onwards, I gave it a good try. Like I had enrolled in 2 different test series, and I just gave tests. And tests is the utmost thing that helps you crack these kind of entrance exams, no matter how much you learn. I mean, that is the basic thing. You should learn those subjects and those chapters, but unless you practice in a time manner with the right strategy, it's extremely difficult to crack 99.5 plus. Because I was a gem, and it was extremely difficult to sort of, if you want that reliability that even in the main exam, if you want to crack, you need to practice a lot. So I practiced more than 40 plus tests from 2 different test series. Time was one of them. Another one was IMS back then. Now things would have changed a lot, I can assure you. I mean, it was way back in 2016. Yeah, 2016. So things would have changed. So I can leave that aside, but keep on practicing, build a strategy in a timed manner that how you're going to attempt things. Keep on testing those strategies time to time from one test to the other until you have devised 2 or 3 strategies for yourself that this is how you will attempt. If I see the difficulty of certain paper or certain questions in this manner, I would adjust my approach in the same manner. And that would help you nail the exam. Okay. So as I said, if you want to crack such competitive exams, you need to build a strategy. It's not just about learning. You need to practice it in a time manner, optimize your approaches, try and test everything in the mocks, and eventually during the D-Day, give your best shot and leave it up to luck. Okay. And I am a firm believer of luck. Okay. I mean, I still wonder how I cracked it. But remember, luck only comes to you if you let it happen. If imagine if you don't give it a try, luck won't come at your doorstep. Okay? So if you have to bring luck in your way, you have to work hard.
Yes, that's true. As you told the last time, and I also myself didn't know how I am. It's really very, funny to listen that. You also didn't know, but you got to crack IM, and that's a great opportunity you got. That's great.
Yes. Yeah, and if you are aspiring to get into MBA colleges, good MBA colleges, please also make it a habit of learning the basics of economics, basics of I won't even say marketing, but macro and microeconomics would definitely help. Start focusing on Indian budget and how what are the big Indian businesses doing currently, how the overall GDP is working, in India, especially in India. That will definitely help you in your later steps when you are when you're there in the interview process. Okay, and before even practicing, preparing for MBA, I had no clue about India's GDP. I didn't know what futures options and finance were, etc. But once I made up my mind that I have to do MBA, I started focusing on these aspects as well. And it more than practicing, it was that I got a like I felt more interested in learning these things instead of taking it as another course as such. I was sort of interested in understanding it. It gave me another perspective that why, you know, how the money moves, and through that money, what happens in Indian business context. That really helped me get a good confidence. At the same time, I built a lot of interest in those areas.
Mhm.
At least it gives you a different perspective. That's what helps. Yeah.
That's great. That's nice. So, as you're working in Amazon, okay, in your role, so what are your day-to-day responsibilities like? What is your work?
Uh, so in Amazon currently, the first thing is always is to understand the operations in the business, how it works, because I'm working in supply chain domain, and supply chain of Amazon is humongous. Like it's too complex. There are too many systems. So at a ground level, you need to understand how this whole business works. You need to understand the why part of your role. The existence of your role is something that you should question internally and understand why you are there, how you are adding the value by being in this role. Once you understand this whole blueprint, the next step is to understand the systems and understand the interest of the stakeholders that you're going to deal with. Um, the reality in corporate life is more than the I would say hard skills. It's also about the soft skills. 50% of it I can definitely attribute it to the soft skills. You need to manage your stakeholders. You need to align with their interests. You will have to make certain compromises, but in a very rational way. You can't, take a decision which is just based on your hunch. You have to back it up, justify it with the data, right? Once you have understood those things in place, start building as a business. If you're working in the business intelligence or analytics domain, there are different subdomains within analytics: predictive, prescriptive, or even exploratory. I would not get into those details, but once you have figured out the blue picture and the stakeholder management part and the systems, you start working, laying out a roadmap for yourself, that this is how you envisage your department should envisage what your department should be doing in the next year to come, or at least for this year. With that plan, you start working on building analytical tools that help you optimize and take decisions, the right set of decisions that increases company's revenue or improves cost or improves the lead time that you're dealing with. Now, supply chain is like, I'm still learning, to be frank. You never stop learning. No matter whatever company you're working in, the attitude should be that I won't say every day. That's too much to ask, but never feel that you are complacent enough in a role. Always challenge yourself. Be at the sweet spot where you get to learn things, and you also get to use your what do you say? You also get to use your the current skills that you have with which you can help the other stakeholders and add more value. Okay, so there should be appropriate mix of learning and using your current skill sets to give benefit to the organization.
That's great. That was really, complex for me as you explained a lot, and I was trying to decode that. Oh my God, what? How
Yeah.
did? How
I
are
mean, I
it?
believe I'm keeping things at a very, yeah, at a superficial level. I don't want to get into details.
Yeah,
Supply chain domain itself is huge.
itself
Right?
is a huge. Oh, you explained the one part of your other part of your role is other
Yeah.
components.
My agenda is to give you a blueprint of how you should learn things and approach things in your career to grow yourself.
That's true. That's true. So, as you are working in business intelligence. So, how do you think that how is the future of business intelligence in upcoming years?
Oh, there are plenty of opportunities. Plenty. It's a never-ending field, I would say. The reason being, the traditional businesses they are becoming tech enabled. Okay, tech is an enabler. If you talk about e-commerce, it's just traditional businesses setting themselves up on let's say on a web-based platform or app-based platform through which they can reach out to the customers with the lowest churn possible and make the business happen. Imagine a simple kirana store. If he is onboarded into an e-commerce platform, he can sell his stuff to the customers. It increases his visibility, brand presence as well. So in that sense, no matter what business you are in, let's say insurance, finance, if you are even in as traditional business as let's say B2B OEM, okay, all of them are transforming their businesses, they're transforming themselves, and they are getting onboarded to tech platforms, okay, and hence you would see a huge growth in this area. Now, within the moment you start delving with huge amounts of data in terabytes and petabytes, you need to make sense of the data. The problem as of now doesn't lie in access to the data. Believe me, that we have enough of the data, but you need to make sense out of it. Okay. One angle, the tech angle deals with building those systems in place through which you can help your business take decision. So I leave that angle aside. But once you have done your MBA, as a business intelligence manager, as a business intelligence engineer, what you do is you build the right tools, you build the right metrics along with the product teams, okay, through which you help the management take right decisions. So if the cost is moving up, you need to understand what are the levers you can take to bring the cost back. You need to understand, first of all, the why part of it. You will do root cause analysis. You need a lot of business intelligence systems there. So you need business understanding and tech understanding both. And it is present, I would say, in every field. Okay, in right from travel or hospitality sector to insurance sector to finance domain to a normal e-commerce, you name it, everywhere you need business intelligence, data analytics. And the advanced part of it is to get into the data science domain and operations research domain, where you build LPs, linear programming models, or different kind of models that helps you optimize your cost or optimize your revenue. And if you are able to automate it through some statistical models, you have basically built an AI system for your organization. Okay. So in that sense, you have enough. Right? The domain it's big enough to sort of explore. It will take you years to explore every part of it, and that's the same with any other domain. Even if you are into marketing, there's like no dearth of opportunities.
I would say that business intelligence is a very growing future. Like it's a very growth. That's a
Yes,
very good.
it's a growing future, especially when you know that all organizations now consider data to be the next oil, right? As I mean, that's a very common say right now. Given that thing, you need the right skill sets within your organization, which can make sense of the data and help you take decisions, either manually or in an automated way. Okay, those decisions directly impact your businesses, either in terms of revenue, in terms of cost, in terms of time. Okay, and eventually that will help you improve the customer experience as well, right? So for the growth of the business, this is kind of a backbone you need to build.
That's true. That's really.
I can tell you that even in my previous domain, when I was working in the fashion category, uh, you needed data to make decisions. Okay.
Yes.
Now it's not just data. If I tell you a number, you can build any kind of story behind it. Okay. If you say that an engineer come and he can also do that stuff, okay, he can give you the numbers, but unless you know the strategy behind it, a story behind it, you can't do anything. For that, you need business acumen. And that's where MBA degree also comes into picture. You will basically do both the stuff and you'll be closest to the business. Okay, you also understand the data, and data, it's a double-edged sword. You can make any story with it. Okay, it's not numbers just help you justify your story. They don't tell you the right story by itself. Okay, the way you envisage the build your strategy, that's how you'll project those numbers to be. Unless you have a good business acumen, you might not be able to take the right decision. Okay, so you need the right business acumen and right understanding of the data, merge them together to make things happen in the right direction to grow your business.
Oh, that's great. Very informative. You told about that thing. That was really nice. So, Aman, as you've worked with many other companies and currently working in a very good company, there is another. So, you might be having some mission and vision in your life, right? So, what are
And that's a very good question and a challenging question to ask. My my mission, my vision and mission. Okay, I'll have to introspect. Okay, I might be making it up, but I'm just introspecting based on my actions that I've taken in the past. Uh, my vision is to add value to any kind of businesses through my skills and through my stakeholder management. Okay, so that the business can grow. That's my vision. My mission as of now is to learn the right skill sets, is to learn the right set of, to build the right business acumen so that I can contribute, so that I can contribute and reach my ultimate goal of managing, being able to manage things by myself. I mean, it might sound a bit very abstract to you, okay? And these are abstract things. But yeah, this is what my mission is. I want to learn the right skill sets, and it's never stop learning. Okay. My mission is to never stop learning the right skill sets I need to eventually achieve my vision.
you made this up or you are telling the true mission and vision?
I made this up, but the core is true. Yeah.
The core is true. Okay. That's a very great mission and vision you have for your life. So I would like to ask you that as you were once an MBA student, okay, so how you used to work on your CV, from standing out of the crowd, as there are a lot of students sitting in the
Yeah.
placements.
That's a big pain, especially when you are in the topmost colleges. It becomes really challenging when you know that the same organization is going to hire just 3-4 candidates out of such a huge pool, and everyone over there is an alpha male or an alpha female, right? They would have named something in their career before. So in that sense, I had there, like, at least for the first 2 semesters or trimesters, you call it, I forgot it now. But in the first trimesters, you should spend a good chunk of your time working on your resume, working on the right set of points, framing it in the right way, using star format, using a lot of metrics, understanding the complexities. I mean, although it's a single pager, okay, there are plenty of complexities. Something that if you can reach out, anyone can also reach out to me. I can guide them if I have time. But definitely, you need a lot of iterations. I believe I had gone through 12 or 13 iterations just to prepare the first final version of my resume, and I had 3 such versions. And I'm not the only one. Everyone in the campus had to do it. Good thing about IMA was, or IMABC, is that the PlaceCom team, they helped us out a lot. They gave us a template. They helped us understand this is what a company looks for in such kind of CVs. This is how you should frame your points. And with those nuances, I think I was able to nail it. The differentiating factor, anyway, is your experience and the skills, the right kind of the right set of keywords, and hitting the right spot, which adds value for the organization. Okay, wherever you're applying for. Many people I have seen, they just focus on the formats. They just focus on beautifying the resume. You're not a graphic designer, okay? And neither am I as a recruiter. I've had plenty of guys. I have taken a lot of interviews. I don't even look into that. Okay, when I look at the resume, I want to see the points that you have mentioned. You as a person, what are the skills you have? Hard skills, soft skills. Do you show ownership skills? Do you show that you're capable of taking the responsibility and deal with? Are you able to deal with complexity in a very rational, in a very structured way? I mean, there are all other stuff as well, but these are the qualities I will definitely see, and you should put these in your CV in the right format. Yeah. So practice a lot, spend a lot of time, especially in the first 2 semesters, honing your CV. Okay, get it checked with not more than 4 or 5 seniors of yours. Don't get it checked with 10 or 20. It doesn't add value because everyone would have their own opinion. Stick to 3 or 5 whom you can trust and they can add more value for your iterations, and just give it a go. Finalize.
Yes, that's true, as you said about the opinion, because if you go to a lot of people, then a lot of people will give you 10 opinions and you might be get confused about what to do.
That's true. I mean,
Everyone,
everybody comes with a varied experience, right? It's not that they will not add value,
exactly.
but whatever value they add, it might not be synchronized with your skill sets and with your experience. Okay, and everything goes haywire. Too many cooks spoil the broth. It's exactly the
Yes.
same.
And that was one more, good point that you pointed out, that everyone used to try beautify their resume so that it looks a very beautiful resume in front of the companies. But
No, just stick to the basic structure. Try out different formations. It's fine, but don't be so obsessed about it. No.
that was really nice. So, as you also know that you were doing MBA, so there are a lot of people, as I also see, and I am seeing it, that they're confused about their domains. Like there is supply chain management domain, there is marketing domain. So they are confused at which domain they should go to. So, what would you like to tell to them?
That's a very good question that you've asked, especially to a candidate who am I suppose confused back in college. Okay, but through my experience, I built a framework for myself. Okay, and that's what I'll share. Uh, Talk to your mentor, talk to people or seniors whom you consider yourself to be mentors, but don't take them for granted. I mean, I would say, don't assume whatever they speak is something that is there in Bible. Okay, don't treat it as a Bible for yourself. Take them into consideration, but eventually you are the one to decide for yourself. And even those seniors, they haven't even entered the corporate life, right? They're still in the second year, or they have just entered the corporate life. So whatever they also tell you, or whatever even I tell you, would add value to only a certain extent. Okay. So yeah, use that as a framework. Ask them more. Understand about their responsibilities. Will it excite you? If you are also like, imagine that you are working in that role as of now. Ask them what are the challenges they face. What is their responsibility? Okay. How does their role add value to the organization? Okay. With these kind of questions, put yourself in their shoes and see, is it something that excites you? Is it something where you yourself would be able to help the organization with? If that's the case, you should give it a try. Pick it. My approach has always been what not to do instead of what you should do. Okay. I know that I don't want to be in finance. I know I don't want to be in marketing or in sales. Okay. At least I figured those things out. But in other domains, I mean, it's a long life. I mean, you just started your career. If you just build certain hard constraints, it's very difficult to grow. Okay, so be very open about it, but you should understand what all things you shouldn't do. Okay, once you figured that out, explore. Right? You should go be in that role for a few years, give it a try. If you don't like it, or if it's something that you feel that you have like nailed now you want to venture into something else, give it a try. It doesn't, I mean, it always helps, because eventually a business guy is a generalist. He's not a specialist. Okay. So if you want to become an entrepreneur, if you want to manage roles, if you want to be at a role with huge responsibilities on your shoulders, you need to know the ins and outs of a lot of things, not just one thing. Okay. So if you have switched from one role, from one functional area, even within an organization, it's fine, or from one organization to other, it adds a lot of value. Okay, it will build, it will give you so many perspectives, and you would understand things holistically when you join another organization at a larger, huge role higher up the ladder. So get all those roles to try, but do please form a framework where you check out those roles which you don't want to, where you do not see yourself, something that don't inspires you or excites you. That has been the case with me. Every candidate would have their own opinion. So as you see, I had, like, during my internship days, I had tried out strategy consulting as well. I felt that it's something that I'm not meant for, maybe because they have their own set of challenges and it does not match my value to an extent. Uh, I knew that I am okay, that I would definitely eventually, I mean, I would want to stay close to data. I wanted to give product management a try. I wanted to give strategy planning and operations management a try. And I loved it. So at least I know that I want to stick to it in this domain. Eventually, I mean, there are a few more things which I want to try in the data science field as well. But as of now, I mean, I'll see if I want to explore it. If I'm like, it's just a matter of time, I would say. Yeah.
That was really nice. As you told yourself that you were also confused about the domain, but after that you came to know that which domain you are interested in, and But still, I would also tell to the people that you should introspect yourself that where you are good at. Like if someone is good at networking, then go for marketing. That in marketing you need a lot of networks, and if to connect with the people. And if you're good in maths and you have a good analytical skills, then go for finance. Then you should know which skills you are good at, and talking to the people will
True.
also
At least, I mean, you should basically do a SWOT analysis about yourself.
yeah,
Right?
that's
So,
true.
yeah, once you have done that, or you can say SWOT analysis because weakness hai nahi. So, do that analysis and then reach out to your seniors and understand whether it's something that excites you, something where you can add value. Okay? And yeah, that should definitely help.
Yes, that's true. That's true. If you do your SWOT analysis and after doing SWOT analysis, you're asking few people, it'll just surely help with choosing the right domain and the landing in the right place. That's really great. So I would also like to ask you that as you're working in the Amazon, so you might be facing many challenges. So how did you overcome those challenges and how did you fight?
A huge chunk of challenge lies in managing the stakeholders, managing different teams. Not just at the same level, but also a level above you and level below you. Okay, so it's like a 360-degree kind of thing. So you need to build a good rapport with them. How do you build a good rapport? By understanding their interests, by understanding their challenges, and how you, as in your role, would add value to them. Having constant feedbacks and touch points with them. Okay, that's the biggest part. The other challenge is I would say I would treat it as external slash internal. This is the external part where you interact with others, build a rapport, understand things. The internal part is focus, put at least dedicated 2 hours to 3 hours on a daily basis to minimum. Okay, this is minimum of 2 to 3 hours on a daily basis. It can even reach to 8 hours on many of the days, where you actually work on your hard skills, you analyze stuff, you build strategies. Okay, that is the internal piece. Once you have built those framework strategies and data models for yourself, constantly reach out and start adding value to your stakeholders. Okay. Now the staging piece, what I mean by staging is when you do this first, when you do the second, would you do the first piece together and eventually do this? All that stuff, I'll leave it up to you. But you need to have a proper synchronization of both the pieces to get things going. And that's the biggest challenge. Okay, especially in startups, because I know in India, I mean, startups are booming, and yeah, if you want to learn things, startup is a good entry point for that. The main challenge is things are unstructured. The other challenge is nothing is set in place, so you have to build things by yourself. What analyst does, you will not have resources. You have to do things by yourself. Okay, no matter wherever you are, even in marketing field, you will have to do things right from the ground, right? And the main challenge is how do you manage stakeholders at the same time the actual work that you're doing. The synchronization piece, if you have nailed it, you are like going in the right direction. So be thorough with it. How build a blueprint for yourself, a model for yourself. Okay, build a structure and stick to it.
So how did you overcome that challenge? Like how did you get used to that challenge?
As I said, I built a framework for myself. I understood that these are the set of challenges I'll incur. In these challenges, these are the stakeholders that are getting impacted. Okay, what are the interests they have? What is the impact they are getting because of these challenges? Then I'll start prioritizing. Okay, I have 10 different stakeholders to deal with. One is in finance, he has these challenges. And because of his challenges, my department has cash flow challenges. I'm not able to get enough budget to buy the next stuff, etc. There would be a challenge with the growth team. They'll say they don't have enough budget, hence they cannot give me enough sessions and enough traffic. Okay, and because I don't have enough traffic, I want to direct it more to, let's say, to electronics, not to fashion. Okay, but I am working in fashion. I need to understand their pain point as well. Right, there would be a challenge related to marketing and branding, challenge on supply chain. Okay, so there's several stakeholders. Put all those challenges together, start prioritizing. What if this challenge still persists in the next 3-4 months? What is the impact? What is the reach of it? Okay, with those certain metrics that you have built by yourself, start prioritizing. Okay, as of now, I'll put from this list, I'll put this as a to do. Put a backlog as such. Okay, a proper Kanban kind of I would say internal planner for yourself. Okay, you can put that in Excel. I use Excel a lot for all these planning purposes. You can use any tool, it doesn't matter. Any project management tool will also work. Once you have understood this part, start picking one thing at a time, go into detail, have a lot of touch points. Once you've solved this piece, venture into the next one. But owning those challenges, prioritizing them, and working on them with full dedication is something you should definitely do. Now, you see the structure that I've put, and it's very much helpful for me. Else, what happens is every day I know I have 10 things to deal with. I'll be so much bothered, but eventually I don't do anything about it because I'm too messed up in my own, I would say, complete mess that I have, right? So put a structure, approach things one at a time, and you're good to go. Okay. And if some stakeholders ask, why is this thing not done? I have a proper rationale. I have built my metrics. Because of these reasons, I have kept it in this priority. Okay. Once I have approached this, I would reach out to you and I'll also solve this problem of yours. And people appreciate it. Like I have worked in a startup as well, and like even here I'm dealing with a lot of stakeholders higher above the ladder. They appreciate this approach where you prioritize things in a very rational way and you help them understand why you are doing it this way. Convince them. They will themselves will be very much helpful to you. They would reach you out and enable what you're doing, basically.
Yeah, that's really great. That's very nice of you telling how to overcome that challenge. So, what I was asking is that as you have worked for many companies and you told about the challenges also, so what learnings have you got from every industry you have worked?
Learnings. What I've learned is no matter whichever sector you go to, there are certain core principles, they never change. Okay. Though fundamentals, you can name it in any form of other metric in that domain or in that function area, but the essence, the business essence of it, it hardly changes. Okay. In airlines, you call something as look to book ratio. In travel sector, you call it conversions. In e-commerce, you call it unit conversion rate. No matter what metric you name it, but there are core fundamentals of running the business that never changes. Something that will, if you take it along with you to any other area, it will definitely help you. Okay. The other learning is, besides these core fundamentals, now there comes the ancillary piece or the piece that are relevant for each sector. Okay. You should always learn the blueprint because that is what defines or distinguishes a business or that sector from other sectors. Okay. So how airlines work, how oil and gas sector works, how in e-commerce fashion business works, how supply chain works, etc. Right? Learn the blueprint. Only start once you've learned the blueprint, Pick one piece at a time and start learning things. You can't approach things like in the go completely. Spend a few months, learn one thing at a time, and then you would be in the right path. Okay. But first thing is always to focus on those core things which hardly change. And that has helped me switch sectors as well. Because I'm really good at those stuff. If some, I can even switch sectors into insurance where I know that with these skills I can still add value in this area. Okay? So I stick to those things.
Okay. Yeah, that's very great. That's very great learnings you have there. So I would like to ask you that talking about the learnings, uh, as I came to know about the Growjunction, so how do you think that Growjunction can help these students and other professionals in their career and in their growth?
Oh, definitely. So Growjunction, I know they have lies with a lot of seniors who have already done MBA. They are in the corporate world because they have good connects with them. Any student who aspires to understand more about that role or more about the sector, you can definitely put them in touch with these seniors. Right. The other part is building a complete mentoring program for them, mentoring them, understanding their current skill sets, their current strengths they have, and putting them, or at least putting a framework for them where they can explore only these set of areas, such as marketing or such as strategy, okay, such as operations, which fits to their strengths, core strengths. Okay, and then you enable them to explore those areas is where you add value. The other part is for the budding people, where I mean, for the budding students who want to understand what is MBA all about. If you do MBA, how does that degree add value? What will you be doing in future? Okay, is it something that interests you? Something that you definitely want to do after having understood those? So exploring those angles is where I see Growjunction adding the right value for these budding MBA candidates.
That's really nice and very great that you told about the Growjunction, how they can help. So coming to the last part of the session, I would thank you. A special thanks to you, Aman, taking out your busy schedule and giving us time to talk to us and giving a very insightful information about everything. That's very nice.
The pleasure is all mine. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you so much. Any life advice you want to give to our audience?
I think with every answer, you'll always find a life advice. I'm just that kind of a person. Okay. As I said, never stop learning.
Never
Right.
stop learning.
And a degree doesn't define who you are or where your career will go. It's all about your interests, about your skill sets you build, and just 2 years of learning, be it MBA or 4 years of your engineering, doesn't define where you will. I mean, doesn't confine your career prospects. Okay. With those degrees, use that as an enabler. Understand your strengths, figure things out, explore it, and then keep constantly learning to add more value and to grow your career in the right direction. That's it. Okay. As of now, I can tell you earlier I never had interest in finance. Currently, I have interest in a lot of interest in finance as well, in crypto space, and a lot in understanding the complexity of operations of different sectors. So I usually explore what are the challenges they deal with, something that interests me. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But yeah, on a daily basis, I do devote an hour to explore these things and learn more about it. Yeah, it's for my personal interest. It's not for nothing else.
Yes, that's good. So one question, I just forgot to ask that what are the skill set as you're working in this business intelligence? Any skill set are required to work for this role or anything?
See, this is a bit specialized area. You definitely need a lot of analytical skill sets. The one fundamental basic which I have felt that many students also ignored in IMA as well was few people concentrated on analytical skills, so certain tools. It's not analytics, they are highly analytical, of course, but tools like SQL or SQL that you call, it's the bread and butter for the current all tech organizations. What can differentiate you from other candidates is learning these skill sets. No matter you get into account management role or program management role or product management role, you need to delve with data. Now, if you have this skill set, the current department will not need an external, another team member to do this stuff. You are capable of running the show by yourself, right? So learn SQL, very important. Forget business intelligence, but in general, in all these startups, you need to know this because that's the bread and butter. That's from where you pull out the right data and you start taking actions based on data. Be very data centric, and because this is what I mean. It in all these startups or big organizations, because they are extremely data centric, they take all their judgments based on facts and not on hunches. This skill set adds a lot of value. The other part in business intelligence is you need to understand Python, the cloud network, and the cloud platform that is there. But you don't need to be a techie for that. It's more about understanding how to use it to take business decisions, to build dashboards, to build metrics, to build the right tools that help you take business decisions. The tech part of it, to a large extent, is taken care of by software developers and the other tech team.
All right, that's very great.
SQL is a must.
That's very great, and you told about the skill set required. Thank you so much, Aman. Thank you so much for addressing this. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me here.